Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the GMologist Presents. Today, I have a return guest, Paul Wolfe of Mystic Bull Games. And we're going to talk about quite a few things, mainly on his most recent Kickstarter project. But we always start talking about OSR and period art and the like.
Mm,
I've known Paul for a while. So, how are you doing today, Paul?
Doing good.
Great.
Just spent the day writing. So
Oh, that's great. Yeah, that's really
mhm.
good. So so as of today, as I'm looking at the Kickstarter, you've already met the goal. You passed one stretch goal, and we have a week left, which is great. So successful Kickstarter. At least it's going to be funded. So is that as per your expectation or
Yeah, it's a little bit stalled, but the we crossed the second one, so we actually get the if you back the first one, that detached cover with the full hex map on the inside.
oh, very nice. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
I have the first one here.
yeah,
Yep. I got it
and
for I got it for OSC. So I backed this one with OSC also, and hopefully I can add a few PDFs in the backer kit phase, as add-ons maybe. So we'll see.
yeah, so it's going pretty good. I like the energy around it. That
Yep.
like places that I posted, I've gotten a lot of feedback on the first one.
Yeah.
Where people said, "Hey, I really like the first one. I'm glad you're doing another one." So,
Mhm.
so I'm hoping everybody likes this one too.
Yeah, I did a little unboxing and we talked about some of the Zerovian Highlands. That's Witch Lord's Skull Mountain Volume 1 zine. I purchased it at North Texas or a little after North Texas because you guys had packed up and left before I
Mhm.
got to go back, but and check out your little store there. So so we talked about like that a lot last time. So how does this differ? What's added? Is it the same
So
format?
this one came out of I was kind of angry about something. So when this one was something I was working on for DCC originally
Hmm.
a few years ago, and I had gotten the fifth edition Ravenloft book. I can't remember what it's called. um, because it looked really good, and there were some really good things about it.
The Van Richten's guide.
No, it was like the big adventure, whatever the big adventure
Oh yeah,
was.
the big coffin box
Yeah.
adventure. Yeah.
Um, and so I had some really good stuff. I mean, surprising for 5e because it seemed like it was a little more emergent than story driven, but it
Hmm.
just wasn't scary. And like it seemed like they kind of abandoned the whole kind of what they learned in second edition, I guess, with Ravenloft, like how to do kind of gothic horror.
Hmm.
And so I just wrote my own. I was like, I want to write something scary. So it kind of came out of that. So this one, I'm hoping this one has kind of an Eastern European feel and a
Okay.
lot more claustrophobic than the previous one, and a lot more sort of dealing with the entities in that kind of control these areas. And so the whole conceit is you're still sort of searching this area for clues on how to get to Skull Mountain because it's off in these, impenetrable mountains.
Hmm.
And so you're spending your time in this area, like, gathering clues and working with folks and maybe bonding to certain patrons to try and figure out how to get to Skull Mountain. So,
Hmm.
and so this one also has a city. Well, it's actually a town, but a town crawl adventure. It's like a system that I use in my home games.
Hmm.
That looks a lot like a hex crawl where you run a city adventure just off of, some random tables, a few fixed sites, and a few adventure sites, right?
Hmm.
So yeah, that's the big difference. Is hopefully it's a little more claustrophobic. Hopefully it's scary,
Yeah.
and that's it.
Yeah. So is it contiguous? Like you can put the maps together
Yeah,
with
yeah,
the
yeah.
previous? Okay.
It's just to the north of the far western part of that map. So it's
Okay.
actually labeled on that map, Malkova Wilds.
Up to
It's
the
that area there, yeah.
okay.
So it extends it off to the north.
And then
Um,
the are you doing a third part eventually, right?
yeah, I'm still trying to decide. So
Or three or four?
it kind of it kind of got bigger than it probably should have gotten to start with,
Hmm.
but the 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 next one is going to be Skull Mountain itself. So
Okay.
so it'll be the actual mega dungeon. So the idea was to build a hex crawl to a mega dungeon so that that mega dungeon would be a higher level, start at a higher level, you know.
Right.
Just because I've never really seen that before, you always kind of start level one, level two, you know what I mean? And so not necessarily a mega dungeon, but it's a very large dungeon that's a higher level adventure. So it'll start probably mid levels like six in OSE or Osric, maybe level six, seven, something like that.
Okay.
But this would be that mid level. So this Malkova Wilds would be more for maybe levels three through six, right? So
Okay.
um, so yeah, just kind of it's a little more tiered. Um, but yeah, so anyway, that's the whole idea is that it was the idea behind the project was to design a hex crawl that gets you to a large dungeon. So
Okay. Yeah.
so yeah,
And that
so that'll
and
be the next one. Yep.
all right. And I will say that I do like the zine format. It's definitely
Cool.
easy read, more palatable to me. Uh, so, it's kind of like, I don't know how maybe the decision is a creative process that you have, but the sort of serial format too is very interesting, right? That, and then you first through third, and then I guess three through five or six, and then the
Yeah.
larger, yeah. So, and it's all contiguous. You could keep play and it can be dropped anywhere, right? I mean, there's no big
Yeah, I think
giant,
dropped anywhere and also torn apart and just used,
right?
however
Because
you want, right?
it's what it's each
It's
hex
pretty
is like
pretty
what
modular.
a mile. So is that right?
On the map, when I was running it, the hexes were 6 miles, but I left it a little ambiguous so that you could just set it however big or small you wanted it. So
Okay. Oh, okay.
mm,
So you could put it like anywhere. Yeah, I don't,
yeah,
yeah, I guess it could have it because it's about it doesn't say how. Two, three, four.
the the I
Yeah,
don't
it's
know
about
the way we
it's like
run
about
hex crawls is kind of you don't know what's there until you go there. You know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah. That's
And
true. And
so
each and then you're like, oh, a mile hex, but I mean a square mile is pretty big.
it's very big. Yeah,
Yeah, try to
exactly.
hike it a square mile and especially in the 100-degree South Texas heat. And then
Yeah,
let me know
exactly.
how that goes. So
I was in the army, so it was like it doesn't matter what the climate is. If you have to carry stuff for a
yeah,
mile,
80 pounds of
it's not
80
gonna be
pounds of stuff.
pleasant. Yeah. Not
Yeah,
gonna be
so
pleasant.
yeah, I was in the Navy, so we didn't have to carry stuff. The boat did it for us. So.
I was a tanker, so I didn't often have to carry stuff, but when I
Oh,
did,
okay. Oh, nice.
mm,
Well, that's cool. So, a very interesting, also, I guess, Kickstarter design consideration is that last in the first zine, you did Shadow Dark, DCC, and OSE. And this
mhm.
time you're doing those three and adding another one.
Yeah.
So I guess if you could explain that decision
It,
or how, and then that process too, like how do you write four different and one adventure for four different systems, right? And then
so
publish
I
all
talked
that. But
about it a little bit in the Kickstarter story, but the main thing is like like a lot of us, I started with the Moldve BX.
mhm,
Um, but very quickly it was AD&D, and that was the game, right? That's the game we played.
right.
And I don't know, whatever version of D&D I'm playing, I pretty much is coming from that conceit, and that's my favorite game. Is what I'm trying to say.
Mhm,
So when the Osric 3 Kickstarter or backer kit, hit, I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna run Osric mostly at home. I still run a little bit of Shadow Dark and a little bit of DCC, but the I'll run Osric as my main game, and I want
mhm.
to add Osric to this because that, like I said, that's my favorite game. So,
Yeah.
and I'm really excited about the Osric 3. Like, it
Mhm,
looks like it's going to be pretty cool,
yeah.
as far as the way he's organizing it and the approach that he's taken.
Right.
Um, so yeah, the process it's interesting because you would think that Shadow Dark, DCC, and OSE are remarkably different, but they're really not. Like
Mhm,
DCC is more complicated, and it comes from the It comes from the D20, like the third edition D&D system.
Hmm.
But OSE and Shadow Dark are really, really close as far as just the way they're designed.
Hmm.
Shadow Dark is even more simple, but just I guess, the simplicity of um, rulings over rules, right? So I don't have to tell you how to run your game,
Hmm.
right? You should know how to run your game, and if you don't, then keep running your game until you do, right?
Yeah.
It's a departure from, maybe fifth edition, maybe the mainstream games where they tell you this is how it works, right? Everything has to have a way that it works.
Right.
With Shadow Dark and OSE, and even DCC to a certain degree, um, you don't have rules. You have this is the way these are the base rules, and then everything else is up to you, right? I give
Hmm.
you a system to figure it out, like in Shadow Dark, like anything, whatever happens, you're probably going to roll some kind of ability check, or you're not going to roll anything, right? You're just going to
Hmm.
do the thing. OSE, same thing, right? You're not gonna use any specific little sub rules to do anything. It's just it's a ruling from the DM.
Hmm.
And outside of Magic and a few other subsystems, DCC is the same. So the conversion between them really is just formatting um, the idea of what you're doing, right? Because Shadow Dark, DCC, and OSE all have different feels as far as kind of where they're coming from. And then sort of mechanically, it's the treasure, right? So it's the incentives.
Hmm.
OSE, you're getting XP for gold mostly, so you got to have a lot of gold to level up. Um, Shadow Dark and DCC, Shadow Dark is still treasure, but the treasure is way less.
Hmm.
And DCC, the incentive is encounter based, so you get XP for encounters.
Hmm.
So yeah, once you get the incentives, once you understand the incentives of the three games and sort of the basic format of all the way that it's communicated to the GM, then it's pretty easy
Hmm.
because they're all pretty much the same game.
And now throw Osric in.
Ozric's a little more complicated, but it's not that much from the DM's perspective. It's not that much more complicated.
Hmm.
It's more complicated, I think, from the character's perspective, the PC's perspective, because they have different character options and all that. But
Hmm.
I can't think of anything specific in Osric that would be remarkably different from OSE. Um,
Yeah, I mean, back in
from
the
a
day, we used to
DM's perspective, yeah.
yeah, and if you remember back in the day, I'm sure you did this too. You take monsters from BX and
Oh yeah,
or like man scorpions. Oh, they're not in AD&D, but I'll just import them because I think they're cool into
yeah,
AD&D, and it's not really. You can use the same format. You ignore the asterisks and stuff,
yeah,
whatever. Some strange little formatting things that BX had, but you could plug them back in because the monster stats at least are the same, and it like you say, it's character differences, right? So more options, I would say, in AD&D slash Osric, right, than
right.
others. Maybe, well, yeah, DCC, Shadow Dark, and OSC are all races class for the most part, right?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say is that it makes it more for whatever reason it kind of makes all of them sort of the same
Hmm.
at a really base level. Of course, there's a lot of very specific differences
Hmm.
in the details, but like yeah, it just makes it for whatever reason it makes it easier, I think, to convert between those three.
Hmm.
Um, I'm just now kind of doing it with Osric, so I just released the patron preview for this book. And
Yeah,
so that's the first time that I've taken something and converted it between the four systems.
yeah.
So it wasn't really that difficult. It's just that I created a patron system for OSE and Osric.
Hmm.
And the difference between those two is very, very little.
Okay,
Really just terminology. And that's about it, basically it.
well, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the story of the same, right? There's no reason
Yeah.
to
No reason to
change the
change that.
story.
Yeah.
All right. So that's pretty cool. And so I will, like I said, today is 7 days to go as we're recording. I'll try to release this early next week, so you'll have a few days left to back this product,
Oh, and it'll
and
be open. So I'm leaving it open for late,
late pledges as well.
late pledges. Yeah, through like October,
Okay,
when I'm about to ship. So,
all right.
um,
Do you know what secondary like backer kit, or is that what you're going to?
what
The
do you mean, like fulfillment?
Yeah.
I kind of just did it on my own last time.
Okay.
I don't think it's for this one either. Looks
Okay.
like around the same number of people. So,
Okay.
I'm having everything printed locally.
Oh, that's
Um,
great. Yeah.
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 So
Yeah. I
hopefully
remember
it'll.
that's a problem that you had before, that they all had to be the same page length.
Yeah, I mean, that was actually a requirement that I thought that I needed at the beginning of the project, and so I kind of hung on to it throughout, but it probably wasn't true by the
Okay.
end. Because once I
Okay.
had that local printer, um, they were like, yeah, 64 pages isn't really a limitation for us.
Hmm.
So it could be any length you want, really.
Okay.
Because it was I think it was Mixam. I was going to use Mixam for the printing, and their upper limit for stapled. What is that called? Uh, anyway, for stapled books was 64 pages. So,
Okay.
but it was a good number to set up there so that I didn't overwrite and
Mhm.
make a make it more complicated than it needed to be. So,
And you're still doing the sort of the zine format too, right?
yep.
And we just, like you said, you just we just passed the stretch goal to make it, which I like. I like you can like that you can remove the text part and you have the map that you can fold down like at a table,
Yeah.
or even if you're using VTT, I would have the map, open and see where they're going, because the players can't really see where they're going, because
Right.
I gray out the stuff they haven't gone to yet.
Yep.
So, and we are gonna on the channel, just to let people know, we are gonna preview or try or run an iteration or an adventure session in the Zerovian Highlands. You can see what the hype is all about, at least from my point of view. I like the
Hmm.
product a lot. It'd be really fun. Hopefully they'll get, I don't know where the player's going to go. It's open sandbox, so I'm going to try to steer them towards one of the early dungeons or encounter sites that Paul has designed, but we will see. They might just love staying in town and hanging out with the locals, and you know,
Hmm.
acting off of those rumors, because there is a lot. It's definitely very procedurally generated, like a lot of random tables. That's kind of, and not a lot of like what you see in a lot in modern big company type products, box text, right? It's just like what I enjoy about your format, and then Hyperborea does this too, like bullet points.
Yeah.
This is how you just this is what's here. Just go after it and describe it, GM, right?
Yeah.
So it gives you a lot more freedom to because your players a lot better than because sometimes the box text, I know I can see when I'm around the table, uh, people like their eyes get glassy when you have a long thing of box text. So it's better to just paraphrase, or I would skip
Definitely.
or skip the box text, especially like in conversationals, right? Where like the idea is like this, your target is NPC and they're giving you this info dump. I have seen older adventures where it's just this long info dump from but that's I mean, you only do that if you're sitting in front of like a trade lecture or a science lecture, right?
Right.
You sit and let someone talk to you. It's more conversational how you get information. So I think that's more fun, and it gives you more GM leeway, right? Like you said, rulings over rules, and now descriptions over box text, right? Your own creativity over box text. Like I
Yeah,
think
I'm
that.
running Osric for my sort of regular game.
Oh, that's cool.
Um,
So
and
the older Osric 2 then, or just what
yeah, I've just got
Matt's
Osric
putting it?
too. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the whole idea of it was I had a subscription to Dungeon Magazine when it first came out. So I had the
Yeah,
first six
mm-hmm.
issues, and I was like, I remember reading all of them, and I think we ran one of them, but I never got to run any of the other ones. So I was like, you know what? For this Osric game, I'm gonna read, as many of these Dungeon Magazine dungeons from the first issue to as far as I can get, and I want to just scatter them across the world. Yeah, there you go.
Turtles of the Purple Sage.
exactly.
I love the Holloway art there, the
Yeah.
turtles.
Yeah, I took
People are
that
like,
one.
oh, turtles, they're from fifth edition. No, they're not, you idiot. They're from
Right.
way back.
They're from Beckme, basically.
Back
That
me,
was
yeah, back me. So
um
yeah, I've always wanted to run Turtles of the Purple Sage, right? But
I
it's
took that one and made it I didn't have the I don't know if those were out yet. I may have preceded it, but I didn't have
oh yeah,
like
what?
the map or whatever, so I just made it Orc's Head Island. I think it's Orc's Head Peninsula or something.
Yeah, yeah,
That was what was in my campaign
yeah.
back in the day.
This is issue 6, I think
Yeah.
and then
Six and
7.
seven. Yeah.
Yeah, 7. This is Mordo's Circus, which is a bitch of an adventure, but also would be really fun to run to spring on somebody.
So yeah, I've got a whole list of adventures from Dungeon that I'm spread around
That's really cool. Yeah,
the
I've used some dungeon stuff recently too. It's a great resource if you can get the PDFs. I think a lot of them, especially from the Paizo era, are
oh yeah,
yeah
Paizo arrows are
PDFs.
really good.
Yeah, the PDFs you can get on Paizo website. So
The but what I was going to say is the thing that you were talking about, every single one of them seems like it has that block text of, the
oh,
Baron comes to you and he has this story to tell.
to tell.
And I'm just like cutting all that stuff out. Like, nah, no, I don't need that. I don't need that.
That was kind of the format, I guess. I don't know. Maybe I don't know where
Yeah,
that stemmed from. Was there box text in there? I don't think there was in like the early stuff, but then when you
no,
started transitioning towards second edition, right, or Forgotten Realms era, like
yeah.
I'm running, I'm trying this experiment. We're running like a dual game with Amy and I, um, AD&D, and I'm started with N4 Treasure Hunt,
Oh yeah,
Aaron Alston's.
I love
And
that one.
yeah, I mean I mean I'm doing it a little different in that uh, Amy's character is actually a leveled character and trying to rescue these incompetents.
Mm,
In the original incarnation, just to let people know that you're like a bunch of 0 level humans and one gnome. Maybe there's an elf or half elf in there, and you got to survive. And you know it's like a what do you call it in DCC?
it's a
Funnel.
funnel.
It's a
Yeah.
funnel. Yeah, it's a funnel basically. So but yeah, so it should be pretty interesting to see how that goes. But yeah, I mean it's like a page and a half of block text. Like, oh my gosh.
Hmm.
It's more fun to do voices and play an NPC and have a conversation than to read the info dump that the guy gives you or
The
whatever.
other thing that those early dungeon adventures always had was every single one of them, it seemed like had a village, and it was fairly detailed. So, 2 pages of village detail. It's like, I don't need that either. Like, it's good to have a detailed village. That's cool. But, like every single adventure, you need like a detailed village.
Yeah, that's
So
interesting.
that
Yeah,
was two things that stood out when I was reading those.
yeah, the urban adventures they don't necessarily do that, right? Because they give you like a map of the city, but they just give you the area where the adventure takes place,
Right.
more or less. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it's very interesting. They're very involved. I mean, some of those adventures that I remember very fondly, especially like a lot of the when Forgotten Realms adventures that they had in there for first, second, and then third edition.
Yeah.
That were they're really fantastic. And then when Paizo took over, then you had the adventure pass that they started and all that. So yeah, Dungeon's a great resource if you guys can get your hands on it. So I am reminded that you did talk about horror, right? In your game and trying to communicate horror. And this is actually also um, a stream role, and I talked about it recently in the RPG a day. One of the prompts was suspense, right? And
Hmm.
you that suspense in a horror movie, the jump scare that you get because you're like glued to the TV to see what's going to happen, or in a video game. We watch like a lot of video streams and they do these horror films and they turn the corner and there's a bad guy, comes out.
Right.
But so how is your approach to do that? So you said I want to make this scary, claustrophobic. So what kind of
I
tools
think
can you share? You don't have to share all your secrets. What kind of tools can you share to convey that, or what is the approach there? I think it's an interesting question because I think I know I'm talking about a lot of players are jaded, you know. And rarely have I've had suspense at the table, but it's not, I like it to be more common, right?
Yeah.
But
I'll say that I'm not definitely not an expert at it. So the way I thought about it was, first of all, the idea of that claustrophobia. So you're kind of trapped in this area to a certain degree. Not really trapped, but it's just hard to travel.
mhm.
Um, so if you think about Eastern Europe, it's very mountainous.
Mountainous.
It's
Hmm.
very forested. It's very isolated. So villages are isolated from other villages. People are isolated from other people. So it's isolation, sort of slower movement, more claustrophobic is the way I say it. And then there's it's unclear sort of who's in control at any given time. There's a lot of supernatural stuff going on in general.
Hmm.
That's not necessarily, oh, I draw my sword and fight it. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And then also, I think one of the cornerstones of horror is, well, the unknown, obviously. So I think the thing that kind of stood out with the Ravenloft was,
The
you
original
know,
one.
the newer one, the fifth edition one.
Hmm.
Um, the thing that stood out that made me kind of think this isn't horror is because you know everything. The player's going to know everything, right?
Hmm.
Like, oh, it's a werewolf. Oh, it's a vampire. It's a this, it's a that. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
So if you already know exactly what you're supposed to do, it's not scary, right?
Yep.
If you know how to fight the thing, it's not scary. And so, um, I have sort of a more emergent way to generate a an undead creature, right? So
Hmm.
it has, and this is kind of borrowed from DCC in that, everyone they want every monster to be unique. Well, I don't necessarily think that's 100% my approach, but it is important, I think, that when someone sees it, they don't know what the fuck it is,
Hmm.
So, and if you don't know what it is, then you don't know how to fight it, right?
Right.
And or you don't know what to do. And
Right.
so I think once you get into a situation where you're not sure what to do and you have to try stuff and some of those things fail, that's when the suspense starts coming back in.
Yeah.
You see 2d6 goblins, you know exactly what to do, right?
Hmm.
Um, if you hear something out in the darkness gibbering, you're not sure what the heck's going on, right?
Right.
So so yeah, the unknown, and then yeah, I don't want to say um, sort of take away agency, but one of the other cornerstones of horror is that the universe doesn't care about you. And so your agency doesn't really mean a whole lot. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And so, it's not, I don't want to make it where it's hopeless. Like, nothing you can really win, but they certainly are going to have to make hard choices about who they deal with and who they
Hmm.
fight.
Yeah, that's
So,
good. That's good.
yeah.
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I
Yeah,
have a
it's
lot
definitely a
of different
challenge.
patrons, a lot of different ways for them to sort of move through this very dangerous situation. And I think actually, I remember Planescape did that really well. I
Mm.
mean, it was very stylized, but your characters were in an environment where they could never get high enough level to win if they were just going to fight. You know what I mean?
Hmm.
And so it kind of opened up a little bit more of a emergent role playing kind of situation where, hey, you're going to make a deal with this demon because first of all you can't fight him,
Hmm.
and second of all he wants something that you have or that you can get, and
Right.
so yeah, I think those sort of all of those things sort of combined, I'm hoping it'll evoke a kind of it'll evoke an environment where horror just happens, right?
Yeah.
So
Or suspenseful horror. Yeah.
yeah,
Tough choices. Right. So, I mean, you enjoy a show where you're like, oh man, how are they going to move through this? They don't know the conspiracy, right? Or who to back. I really like that idea of like Planescape too, right? Also morally gray, right?
yeah, absolutely.
You don't
Yep.
understand, you don't, is it for the greater good? Is it? What's your moral quandary there? I think that could also convey this sort of horror or uh, suspenseful role play experience, I believe. That's
But
pretty
yeah, I think
cool.
it's really hard to do at the table too in general. Just like you said, like if you have players that have played forever, um, you know, I think it's harder to do.
Yeah, it's hard to trick them. It's hard to it's hard to convey that suspense.
Yeah,
But I think you still can. There's still like
yeah,
um, so I mean, you also need have the good group of players that you play with regularly, so you can kind of get the vibe of the room as
definitely.
well. So, right. So, what's the so switch back to the Kickstarter. What's the time frame? Are we
Time
thinking?
frame for delivery.
Yeah.
So I should have everything delivered before what did I say before I start lying? I think I said November, but let me see.
Oh wow, it's a very quick turnaround.
And the other one was I turned around pretty quick too because I had most of it written.
Okay.
And this one I'm getting a little help. So um I have been doing the layout myself
Hmm.
because I write so slowly that by the time I get it written, I'm like, I'm just gonna have to lay this thing out because I can't wait for anybody else to do it, you know?
Hmm.
So I get in this cycle where I'm just like, oh no, I said December. So
Okay.
by the end of December, yeah,
Oh, okay.
is when I'm going to deliver.
Great.
But I'm really angling towards November because I
Hmm.
think a lot of the art's already done, except for the cover and some other internal couple of internal pieces. Um, a lot of the writing's already drafted. I just need to get it into format and then start converting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it's like it's a lot it's not so much creation as it is just kind of putting together what I have and make and seeing what gaps I have and filling those gaps.
Okay.
Um so yeah, that's the overall timeline.
That's
I
great.
delivered the other one pretty fast. I actually surprised myself because I didn't think I was going to do it.
Hmm. Hmm.
I think I said whatever I said, I think maybe August, I don't know. Or July, whatever I said, I delivered it like right on time.
Cool.
Um,
Yeah,
so
that's
I'm
great. But yeah, successful Kickstarter. People come back, keep coming back if you deliver. Yeah,
definitely,
I think nowadays it seems like uh, creators are trying to be better about that. I remember like backing, say Conan, the Conan Modifius Conan way back, and it took like years and years to get all those books out. Same thing with Infinity, for also for Modifius, but earlier Kickstarters where, and nowadays it seems like the turnaround is incredibly quick, even for these big companies, right? So, or relatively big companies. So it's definitely a change, right? Um,
yeah,
the,
definitely. And I don't want to put dispersions on anybody, but yeah, some of them are way too long.
yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
I mean, from my perspective, what I want to do is get it off my plate and start working on something else.
Oh, there
Like,
you go. Yeah, it's
because
great.
I've already run this, so it's not like I'm running it and writing it at the same time. You know what I mean? So
Oh, okay.
it's
Yeah.
like I've already done the playtesting. I already know what it, I already know what works and what doesn't, and I'm just trying to get it into a book and get it out, right?
So that's your home group. You play test through the
Yeah,
stuff, and you play.
and this one's a little older, but yeah, it's yeah, it was play tested in DCC
Okay.
and a little bit in OSE. So I had this part of this area was also in Forlorn Shores. If you ever played Forlorn Shores,
I played a few.
yeah.
Yeah, I played a few of them. Yeah.
So that area was in Forlorn Shores. Jose was just mentioning that he had one of the demons in this thing. His name is Undul. The 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 hell did I call it? Eye of Pain. And his character in Forlorn Shores had a bloody tattoo of Undul on his chest from
Oh
something he
wow.
did. He didn't remember what, but
Cool.
I'm like, yeah, it was in that area. So
Oh, that's interesting. That's really cool. Yeah. So, do you want to now? I'll give you opportunity to talk about other projects maybe that you got uh going.
so the other big thing that's out there is for the DCC folks is that Angels, Demons, and Beings Between Volume 3.
Hmm.
Um, that's me and David Fisher is the one publishing that,
Okay.
and he put the whole project together. He did almost all the art,
Hmm.
and then I wrote, you know, maybe a little less than half of the patrons in there. So that
Okay.
one's closing in 33 hours.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And he's still a little bit short, so it's let's
Mm.
see.
Well, hopefully it'll make it. Well, we'll see.
Yeah, hopefully. But that book, it's going to come out either way. He's about 500 bucks short, so he'll probably make it.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Um,
Okay. Well, that's great.
but um, but he said he's going to put the book out either way. It's just it'll take a little bit longer the other way. But
Okay.
that one I'm really proud of. I mean, we did a lot of work on it, and his art in it is just amazing.
Hmm.
So yeah, that's a good one. The but yeah, other than that, it's just home stuff. I'm running an Ostrich campaign that's a one Wednesday, or two Wednesdays a month. It's just kind of a regular sort of D&D on top of the world. Like I said, going through all these dungeon magazine
Hmm.
adventures and a few of my own stuff and some other stuff. And then every other Wednesday, it's a Underworld,
Hmm.
Underdark campaign.
Oh, wow.
So yeah, I'm running
What
those.
system is that?
They're both Ostrich.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow. Okay.
yeah, yeah. And that one's been really fun because I don't think I've ever run an Underworld campaign except when I was running a little bit of Operation Unfathomable.
Okay.
But I played an Operation Unfathomable, which is a completely different feel from
Yeah, it's
sort of the classic D1 D2 Underdark kind of campaign.
yeah.
But I kind of merging the two and putting them together and um, running that home
Yeah,
or
I
so
had a place to put Operation Unfathomable if the player ever got to it in Hyperborea. So,
nice.
but yeah, I think it would totally work in the underground of Hyperborea, and I even
Oh
have
yeah,
like who I'd have as the person who sends them on the operation too. So
perfect.
yeah, I think it'd really work. It's got that sort of weirdness, science fantasy type of feel to me. So it's really
Yeah, I
good,
played
good
in that
product.
with Jason ran that for us for years,
Uh-huh.
and I
Wow.
bugged him so much to do a DCC version, and then he let me do the conversion.
Oh,
So
nice. Yeah, that's
it's
cool.
it fits DCC so perfectly.
Hmm. That's really cool.
His art and tone and the whole thing.
Hmm. What about the other writing that you mentioned, if you're allowed to talk about that?
Oh yeah, just fiction. I'm writing fiction for short stories. I'm working on a novel that's kind of paused at the moment, but I'm working on a lot of short stories.
Hmm.
And I've been a couple of friends and I are putting together a sword and sorcery anthology. So
Oh, nice. So yeah,
um,
look for that, everyone, around the corner at some point.
yeah, it's coming pretty quick. The
Okay.
I have a few commissioned pieces. Probably can't mention who yet, but
Yeah,
I'm
yeah, I understand
pretty
that.
excited about. And then we're going to do a crowd fund, and if we get to a certain level, we're going to open that up to more general,
Like a contest type of thing, or
just general submissions, like yeah, kind of like
oh yeah, I guess it
any
is
other
a
magazine.
contest,
Yeah,
right? Yeah, that's kind of cool. That'd be nice
yeah.
to
And so
get to that.
we're putting that together right now, and yeah, just trying to make you know, trying to live and write, and whatever that writing looks like, that's what I want to do. So.
All right. Well, great, Paul. Anything else you have to
Mhm.
add or you want to promote? It's
Mm-mm.
great to sit and chat with you again, um, and talk about your Malkova Wilds. Looking forward to it. I backed it, like I said, at OSE again, because that's what I have for the first one. But
I
I am
appreciate it.
looking forward to seeing the Osric version. And I'm shocked that I have not played Osric. So I guess that one last question then, because I was just prompted in my head about it. So how does it feel compared to AD&D First Edition? Because that's what I've been running lately.
So it depends. I guess it depends on how you run AD&D. So the way I run AD&D is basically if, Moldve Basic and Marsh Cook X had a baby with AD&D and, the system was simple, but we also had the monsters and treasures from, from
Hmm.
AD&D. So that's kind of the way I run AD&D, or I did, back in the day. So we didn't do weapon speed. We didn't do, you know, armor versus or attacks versus armor or whatever, or damage versus was it damage versus armor?
No, it's
Anyway,
attacks. Yeah, it's attacks
yeah,
versus armor.
attacks versus armor. We didn't really understand the segment system. You know what I mean? So it was uh it was basically just it was BX with with a AD&D overlay.
Hmm.
Um so Osric is probably a little bit more canted towards AD&D. There's definitely a segment system that's simpler. There's no weapon speed. There's no attacks, attacks versus AC. Um, it's really, really close to run an AD&D without the like confusing complications. So that's what I'll say. I'll say like Labyrinth Lord Advanced
Hmm.
is definitely more like we ran, all through my youth AD&D, which is EX with the AD&D overlay, right?
Right. So yeah,
Um,
race and class, and
exactly.
then yeah, the
All the
just
monsters, all the treasures that they would have or
yeah.
whatever. Yeah.
Hmm.
So yeah, I would say Osric's a little bit canted more towards AD&D,
Hmm.
but still not not the confusing stack of stuff that no one ever used, right?
Yeah,
So I don't know
I think
how do you
rarely
play AD&D?
I don't use we don't use those. I don't see the really the point of using
Mm,
those. And I think what's interesting in for AD&D is like when characters want to do something in a round, like and I think that's what's neat is that it's not just it has become, at least with the group that I'm playing, or what do you want to do? Right. Or what are you doing this round? And then they kind
mm,
of they don't always just attack, you know what I mean? But you have a minute. So logically, what can you do in a minute round?
right,
I think that's the most interesting rulings that that I've made. Like, can you do this and that and X in a round? I usually am like, yeah, it seems reasonable, right? I mean, when
right.
you're coming from games that I played like GURPS, where it's like 1 second, what can you do? You can look down. All right, you can look to the left, right? You can look to the right. Right. I mean, yeah, I mean it's I'm being facetious with GURPS. It's a great system, but it does its own thing. But for ADD, I agree. I think we have kind of simplified it in our minds and not. I mean, the option is there to use the weapon speed has come into play depending if you like trying to interrupt the spellcaster
Gotcha.
or versus. But it's like uh, I can't remember. I can't think of the term, but it's depends on the conditions of the encounter, right? So
Right, right.
situational, that's the word I was looking for.
Gotcha.
It's
Yeah, yeah.
situational, right? So and then we don't really, and I don't know anyone, even when I was like when I run at conventions and I'm talking to people who played a long time, a couple years ago I ran a really cool adventure called Chad Ranther's Bane, where the characters are shrunk and they got to get out of this way station or way house. It's pretty fun, and
Nice.
players had a lot of fun. And I was talking to some old dudes who have been playing AD&D, and they're like, "Yeah, we don't really don't pay attention to that, I guess." So maybe that's controversial. Hey, maybe you run your AD&D game like that with that. I don't know. Someone to ask would be like MW Lewis, the world of
Mhm.
MW Lewis, but I don't know if you use that. I think it adds an extra step, and you just want to get through and go through the combats. And that's
Right.
what I do appreciate about these older games is that the combat works really well. Like in our AD&D game, and hopefully you've had the same. I know you run with a lot of people, but it's probably just and I played in your Forlorn Shores and then your the one where we had the tower and we went underneath
Yep. Yep.
um
Shimmering Tower. Yep.
Shimmering Tower. And even with a lot of people, it goes like and we could do multiple combats, and a lot of it is like a lot of the decision is when it comes to combat, it's pretty smooth and it goes quick. But most of the time is like, well, we want to go left or right or through that door or not, so which is great. It's like more the
It's mostly
decision.
exploration.
It's
Yeah.
mostly exploration, and then when
Yep.
you get to the fight, it doesn't take like there's definitely a podcast I want to do, and I just got to figure out who to get to talk to me about it. Is like I've just gotten really in a way frustrated. We're playing higher level, so I'm venting to you, Paul, and on this podcast. So higher level Pathfinder, they're like 10th level, and and two encounters in a session, a 3 hour session is
Yeah.
not satisfying. Um,
Yeah.
so and because
I
it could
mean, I
be
think 3.5 was very close to that too, or
yeah,
could be.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. This is Pathfinder too.
Yeah.
Whereas like in even in Warhammer Fantasy, which is a percentile system, very different. and I've been playing with these guys. Well, it's the same group of guys. That's the funny thing. So anyway,
Nice.
so but we got through a whole like dungeon crawl in a session, right?
Oh
So
yeah.
like nine,
Nice.
8 or 9 rooms because it's quick resolution with the combat. It's like not a lot of not a lot of from decision making to resolution handling. I think actually Harrigan on Nerds RPG Variety Cast had a great term for that. I think it was Harrigan called it handling. When you get from the die roll to when the resolution occurs, how long does that take? How many steps,
Right.
between? So I think not a lot of steps in OSE, OSR type games, right? And not a lot of steps in like Warhammer Fantasy, but for whatever reason, 3.5 engine chassis takes some time. Sometimes 5e does too. So I don't know.
I mean, I've heard a lot. Yeah. I mean, I have a I have limited experience with 5e, but my son ran a pretty long campaign that I
Hmm.
was in, and it's definitely seemed like, I mean, those guys knew the game and knew their characters really well.
Hmm.
But if you have someone that doesn't,
Yeah,
I mean, it's gonna
there's a
grind
lot
to
of
a
stuff.
halt.
Yeah, there's a
Yeah.
lot of stuff to consider.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's part of it is decision making. That's for another podcast. We don't need to get into that. But I guess that's to answer your question in a long roundabout way. That's how I run AD&D. So it's
Yeah.
quick. So it's quick. We can do like half a dungeon level in a session,
Yeah.
and have a running combat, which I enjoy. So yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, I got Jose's running second edition.
Hmm.
Um, what
AD&D.
is it? Castle of the Mad Archmage,
Oh yeah, I have that.
Joseph Block.
Yep.
Um, and that system also, I really like it. It
Second
uses
AD&D,
weapon.
AD&D
Yeah,
second. Yeah.
yeah, it uses weapon speed, but it's not intrusive. It's
No, no.
and it's strategic. It's really good. I like it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I didn't remember that from when I played second edition, which I didn't get to play it that often,
Okay. Yeah.
but yeah, it was. I like that system too.
Cool. All right. Well, maybe that's a topic for another conversation, Paul.
Mhm.
But I'll let you go. And thanks so much for joining me here on the GMologist Presents. I'm really happy that we'll get to see Skull Mountain #2, the Malcova Wilds, here in your Zine Quest journey. Looking forward to the Skull Mountain product as well. And like I said, I'm going to run some on the channel here on the YouTube, and I'll probably get this out. So you
Awesome.
guys have a few more days when this comes out to back Which Lords of Skull Mountain #2. Thanks so
Appreciate it,
much.
man. Thanks a
Thanks so
lot.
much, Paul. Yep.
Yep.